So here we are with another crazy thing that I've built for an event coordinator. As you know, if you watch my channel, that's mostly what I build for, is event planners and party planners. This is a display wall for a backdrop for pictures. It would probably be decorated with flowers across it, maybe some balloons, stuff hanging on it. And then there's a stage that goes in the front that I built about a month ago. They'll probably set like a chair or something on the stage, and you could take pictures with a newborn or, you know, 1 or 2 year old kid, and it would be for a birthday party, or 2 people could stand on it for a wedding. I mean, it's limited what you can use it for. So the curved walls are just 1/2-inch plywood, and then the curve is 1/4-inch plywood. And if you use 1/4-inch, it's a lot easier to make this bend. And they're not heavy at all. They're easy to move. And the kickstand has hinges on it so that you can fold it up easily. You can make these kickstands however you want to. I just cut, you know, an angle on it with about 5 inches right here on the top and bottom. I think they ended up being about 18 inches high. I mean, you can make them however you want to. There's no real necessity on how these are made. I tried to make them so that they would either fold in or, you know, fold flat. That way you can stack them a little bit easier. So all the back is a 2x4 cut down to 3 inches. And then these are cut, let's see what these blocks are. Can't remember. About 1.5 inches, or no, I'm sorry, 2 inches on the blocks. So you cut a bunch of spacers. This one has seven blocks on each one. You just space them out evenly. You don't even have to get them perfect. Glue them, nail them from the other side with a brad nailer. Make sure they all have glue on them. And then when you cut this arch out, you want to take a thin strip of 1/4-inch like this and get it to the bend you want. When you're laying it out on the 1/2-inch plywood, you know, you'll have a 1/2-inch sheet of plywood that's rectangle at about 22 inches. Each one of these are 22 inches this way, and then they're 7 feet tall. So when you lay this 1/4-inch on top of the 1/2-inch plywood to get your bend, you want to start at 22 up here, down to 22 on the bottom. And I think I did my bend at about 15 in the middle. Yeah, about 15 inches. So you measure up 3.5 feet, which is half of 7, and then come over 15 inches and put a mark there. And that's where you'll put the middle of your bend when you bend this 1/4-inch plywood. And what you're doing is you're bending it on top of this to get a traced mark, so you can trace it with a pencil. And all you have to do is, when you bend it out, screw some screws on each side of it to hold the bend. And then trace it with your pencil. Cut out your first one, and after you cut the first one out and get it like you like it, and cut it, you know, and sand it smooth, you can lay it on top of all the other sheets of 1/2-inch and just trace it, and you'll have the same cuts on all of them. Then stack them all together, get them tight with some clamps, stack them all together, lay them on some sawhorses, and sand them all smooth and even. That way they'll all be the same. So these are weight bags that I bought off of Amazon. You just fill them with some sand that I bought from Home Depot, and then you put them over the backs of your display and clip them on, and this keeps them from falling over if anybody adds decorations to the front, or if somebody bumps into them, you don't want them falling over on somebody. I'll have a link to these in my description if anyone is interested and needs some of these. So you're not going to need a weight bag on every kickstand. If you have enough sand to fill all the bags, great. I only had enough to fill 6. I bought 8 bags. But the way this is set up, this front wall is the most important because it's in front of all the other walls. So as long as you have this one weighted properly it's going to keep the other ones from falling over. So this one on the outside, and maybe that one, would probably be the most important ones to have bags on, and maybe the inside walls, because they're so much bigger and you don't know how much weight somebody would be adding on to them. Because what somebody's going to end up doing when they rent this is putting like flower decorations on the front of this all the way across, and they might hang stuff on it. So if you're doing that, it's going to add a lot of weight and make it tip. So you want to make sure whoever rents this is putting those bags on there. So when you build your kickstands like this for the backs, mine are on hinges so that they can fold up and all this can easily stack in the back of a van or a truck. And I've seen some people cut holes in them so you can put the bags through the holes and there's no need for a clip or anything like that. I didn't want to do that because it was extra time, and these already came with these clips, so it makes it easier. You just set it on top of it like so and clip it on. And then that gives it a little weight and keeps it from falling over. The middle sheets could not get any easier. All they are is a 3-foot wide by 7-foot tall sheet of plywood. That's 1/2-inch sheet. And all this plywood is sanded ply from Home Depot. Sanded ply is really smooth, and if you sand it, it's even smoother. I usually sand it all with 150 grit, just one time. Sand it over first before you paint it. Get all the sanded dust off of it and then paint it, and it's pretty smooth and it turns out really nice. Sanded plywood for a 1/2-inch I think is $45.99 at Home Depot right now where I'm at. I'm in Alabama. And here's a little tip for when you're putting on your 1/4 inch on the edge. If you will go over the edge with some wood putty, this is what I use. Plastic wood from Home Depot. So you just smooth it, get it smooth on the edge, and then sand it, and this is almost unnoticeable unless you're really close to it. I'll take you around to the back and show you these. These are the 3-foot walls. So I just put a 3/4 1x4. So I just put a 1x4 right here on the edges. I come off the edge about a 1/2-inch, 1/4 inch, whatever that is. And that way your hinges won't, like if you try to hinge this directly to the plywood, it's not going to close because of the thickness of it. So that's what this board is for. So you want these to be able to close up, that way you can stack them easily. So as you can see, there's really not much to these, and that's why I didn't really want to waste a whole lot of time doing a build video on these, because I did a build video on the wavy walls that I built last month, and it hasn't really got that many views. So, you know, if you're interested in building these, it's not that hard. If you're the kind of person that needs plans, I'm trying to get my plan maker to make me some plans for these, so check back in a month or so and maybe I'll have plans if you need them. But like I said, these walls are cut at 22 inches. Rip them down your table saw at 22 inches. And then when you do your arch, I measured up halfway and then across. You get 15 in the middle. And then you make your arch from 22 to 15 to 22. And what I did to make sure that the arch was an actual accurate arch all the way is I measured down a foot. Every foot I put a line, and then I made a mark at whatever this measurement was from there to here at a foot down. I did the same thing down here, a foot up, and then come over, and I made the same measurement and put a mark there. And then I did that all the way up until all the measurements were the same. And then I drew out my arch with this 1/4 inch piece laying on top. I trace it with a pencil and then cut it with a jigsaw. If you're interested in knowing more about building things for event planners and wedding planners and people like that, I have a whole list of things on my channel that I've built for one particular event planner. She does a lot of business with me, almost $20,000 so far. And if you want to know what this costs to build, I have about $450 in material. That's including paint. And I had a half a gallon of paint left over, so you could take, you know, about 20 bucks off that. I had some plywood left over. It takes 5 sheets. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5 sheets of 1/2-inch plywood, sanded ply from Home Depot. And it takes a 1/2 sheet of 1/4-inch plywood to bend these. And then you got a couple of sheets or a couple of pieces cut off of your sheets that's left over to make the kickstands. And I think I ended up using some scrap for the kickstands. So really, that's all it is. 5 sheets of 1/2-inch and 1 sheet of 1/4-inch. I think I had 2 2x4s total. No, I take that back because every wall has a 2x4. So 6 2x4s on the walls, and then the pieces that I cut was another 2 2x4s, so about 8 2x4s, and then 1 1x4 for the back of these. That's all the materials. That was about $450 total, and I sold this for $1,400. And I have about, I think I had about 14 hours in building it. So if you want to see how this is going to be used, go over to our Facebook page and follow us on Facebook. As soon as the event coordinator picks this up and uses it in August of 2024, in case you're watching this video a lot later, August of 2024, she's going to be using this in an event, and she'll have it all decorated up, and you'll see how it's going to be used. So follow us on Facebook and Instagram for that. And if you like stuff like this, go ahead and go on over to my build video on the photo booth. That's one of my most popular items. And you can watch that video next right here. I'm David with Yellowhammer Woodcrafts, and we'll see y'all next time.